The arena was supposed to be electric tonight, but no one expected the kind of electricity that comes when Vengeance walks in wearing a smirk and a leather jacket. The crowd wasn't prepared for the storm that was Liv Morgan, and by the time it was over, neither was Raquel Rodriguez. This wasn't some heated rivalry over a championship. This wasn't a friendly turned bitter feud. No, this was personal. Deeply personal. And anyone who's followed WWE in recent months knows exactly where this started. The day Raquel Rodriguez stood in the center of that ring, took a microphone, and with one cold, cutting sentence, kicked Liv Morgan out of the Judgment Day. It wasn't just a betrayal, it was humiliation. You could see it in Liv's eyes that night. The disbelief, the rage, the heartbreak. She wasn't just being removed from a faction, she was being erased from a family she thought she had fought her way into. Raquel didn't just strip Liv of her place in the Judgment Day, she stripped her of her respect. And now Liv Morgan was ready to collect every ounce of that debt, with interest. The night began like any other episode of Raw, but there was a tension in the air, like a storm cloud hanging over the entire arena. Raquel Rodriguez was scheduled for a tag team match alongside Rhea Ripley, but before she could even make her way down the ramp, the Titantron flickered. Black screen, static, and then, Liv Morgan's voice. Calm, low, dangerous. Raquel, I told you I'd see you soon. The camera cut to a backstage hallway. Liv was leaning against a wall, dressed in all black, her hair hanging wild, her eyes locked on the camera like it was her prey. The crowd erupted. Boos, cheers, a mix of both, but no one dared look away. You thought you could embarrass me. You thought you could toss me aside like I was nothing. You thought I'd disappear. No, I've been watching you, Raquel. Every match, every interview, every little smile you flash, pretending like you're the hero of this story. But we both know, I'm the villain you made. Her voice broke into a sinister smirk. And tonight, I'm done watching. The feed cut abruptly, and commentary scrambled to react. Michael Cole's voice cracked over the noise of the crowd. I don't like where this is going. Neither did Raquel. The match started without incident, but the tension never left. Raquel was dominant, throwing her opponents around the ring with her signature power. The crowd was behind her, until the lights went out. Not a flicker, not a dim, full blackout. A single spotlight dropped over the entrance ramp. And there she was, Liv Morgan. No music, no theatrics, just walking, slowly. Her eyes locked on Raquel the way a lion locks on a wounded gazelle. Every step was deliberate, every movement cold and calculated. The camera zoomed in on her face, not a hint of hesitation. Raquel dropped her opponent, shouting at Liv to stay back. But Liv didn't even break stride. She slid into the ring, and then it happened. No words, no warning, just a steel chair to the ribs. The crowd exploded in shock and noise. Raquel doubled over, gasping for air, but Liv didn't let up. She swung again, and again, and again. The steel echoed in the arena like gunshots. Security rushed the ring, but Liv was already gone, slipping out through the crowd, grinning, shouting over the chaos. You started this, Raquel. And I'm not stopping until you're done. The tension in the arena was reaching dangerous levels. Every fan could feel it. The air wasn't just electric, it was suffocating. The Judgment Day's theme music had barely faded before the cameras caught a storm brewing in the shadows of the backstage area. Liv Morgan wasn't pacing like a woman thinking, she was pacing like a predator about to strike. Her eyes were dark, her jaw locked tight, and her hands clenched so hard her knuckles had gone ghost white. She had been humiliated, tossed aside, disrespected. And it wasn't just the act of being kicked out of Judgment Day, it was who had done it. Raquel Rodriguez. A woman she had trusted. A woman she thought had her back. A woman she had fought alongside, shared strategy sessions with, and even defended in front of others when her loyalty was questioned. But that same woman had turned her back on Liv in front of the entire world, and now Liv wanted to make her pay. As she moved toward gorilla position, WWE officials were trying to block her path. Adam Pearce stepped in, one arm out as though that was going to be enough to stop her. Liv, think about this. I have thought about it, Liv snapped, her voice low but seething with venom. Every second since last week. And you're either going to get out of my way, or I'll go through you. Pearce hesitated. He could see it in her eyes. This wasn't performance, this wasn't hype, this was real, unfiltered rage. And if he didn't let her through, she might just create an entirely new problem for the company. With a reluctant sigh, he stepped aside. The crowd erupted as Liv's theme hit, but this wasn't the usual smiley, high-energy Liv. No skipping, no happy grin. Just a slow, cold walk to the ring. She didn't even acknowledge the fans reaching out to her. Her eyes stayed locked straight ahead, laser-focused on the target. In the ring, Raquel Rodriguez stood with that trademark smug smirk, Judgment Day colors on her gear, standing tall like the betrayal meant nothing to her. She leaned on the ropes, looking almost bored, as if Liv's presence wasn't even worth her time. That smirk, was gasoline on Liv's fire. Liv slid under the bottom rope and immediately lunged at Raquel. No warning, no words, just pure, unrestrained violence. She tackled Raquel to the mat and unleashed a flurry of fists so fast the referee couldn't even react in time. The arena was on its feet, screaming as the chaos exploded. Raquel, caught off guard, tried to cover up, but Liv was relentless. She was hitting with the kind of rage that doesn't fade until bones break. Officials scrambled into the ring, pulling her away, but she kicked one in the ribs and broke free, diving back onto Raquel like a wild animal. Hair was being pulled, forearms smashing against skin, fingernails clawing. Then, the sickening moment. Liv rolled out of the ring, reached under the apron, and pulled out a steel chair. The crowd gasped, half in excitement, half in shock. She slid back in, and Raquel tried to backpedal, but Liv swung for her knees. The crack of steel against bone echoed through the arena, and Raquel collapsed, clutching her leg in agony. The boos and cheers mixed into a deafening roar. Liv dropped the chair and crouched down next to Raquel, whispering something directly into her ear. The cameras couldn't pick it up, but Raquel's face twisted into something between fear and fury. Then Liv stood, looking down at her former friend, and mouthed just one phrase: "This is only the beginning." Before the officials could drag her out, she turned to the camera, her chest heaving, eyes burning, and pointed directly into the lens. "You wanted me gone from Judgment Day. Fine. But I'm gonna make sure you never forget me." Raquel's chest rose and fell heavily as she backed away toward the ropes, but Liv wasn't done, not even close. She slowly pushed herself up from the mat, her lips curled into that unsettling smirk that had become her new trademark ever since her betrayal. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, but instead of wiping it away, she let it stay, as if wearing it like a badge of honor. "You really thought you could erase me from Judgment Day, Raquel?" Liv's voice cracked over the arena mic, her tone low but venomous, almost whispering, forcing the crowd to quiet down just to hear her next words. "You think you can replace me with some pretty little puppet who'll just smile and nod when you give orders? I built part of this, I bled for this, and you threw me away." The crowd erupted into a mix of loud boos and scattered chants, some supporting Raquel, others chanting, "Liv! Liv! Liv!" in defiance. Raquel, breathing hard, shook her head and gestured for Liv to come at her. Liv's grin widened. Then, she pounced. Liv launched herself with a speed that caught Raquel off guard, driving her knee hard into Raquel's midsection. The sound of the impact was sharp, echoing off the arena walls. Raquel stumbled forward, clutching her stomach, but before she could even get a breath, Liv's elbow smashed into the back of her neck, sending her crumpling down to the mat. The commentary team was losing it. Liv Morgan is absolutely unhinged tonight. This isn't about competition anymore. This is about pure, personal vengeance. Liv rolled out of the ring for a moment, and that's when the fans noticed something terrifying. She was reaching under the apron. A murmur swept through the crowd, turning into loud gasps when she pulled out a steel chair, her fingers tightly gripping the cold metal as if it was an extension of her rage. She slid back into the ring, circling Raquel like a predator. The referee immediately tried to grab the chair from her, but Liv's glare made him back off. She didn't have to say a word. Her body language screamed, "Touch me and you'll regret it." Then came the first brutal chair shot. Crack. The sound echoed so loud the front rows flinched. Raquel cried out in pain, rolling to her side, but Liv didn't stop. Another shot. And another. Each time, the steel dented just a little more, and with each strike, Liv's breathing grew heavier, more erratic. "You took everything from me," Liv shouted, her voice breaking mid-sentence. "I was supposed to stand beside you in that ring. I was supposed to lead Judgment Day into the future. And you stabbed me in the back." The crowd was now at a fever pitch. Security began rushing down the ramp, but Liv backed into the corner, gripping the chair tighter. She was daring them to come closer. The cameras zoomed in on her face. Wild eyes, smudged mascara, a twisted smile that made it impossible to tell if she was crying or laughing. It was the look of someone who had been pushed too far, someone who had nothing left to lose. Raquel, using the ropes for support, tried to pull herself up. She was clearly hurt, her back already showing the redness and swelling from the chair shots. Liv saw this, and that's when she made a chilling decision. She threw the chair down, not because she was done, but because she had something worse in mind. Slowly, she bent down and whispered something into Raquel's ear. The mic didn't catch it, but whatever she said made Raquel's expression shift from pain to pure shock. Before anyone could react, Liv grabbed Raquel by the hair, dragging her toward the ropes, and slammed her head directly into the exposed steel turnbuckle. The crowd's gasp was deafening. Even the commentators went silent for a beat. Raquel crumpled to the mat, barely moving. Liv crouched beside her, placing her hand gently, almost lovingly, on Raquel's cheek. Now you understand, Liv whispered, her voice trembling with both rage and satisfaction. She stood up slowly, glaring at the security guards who had finally entered the ring. But instead of attacking them, she raised her hands, letting them escort her away. Not because she was surrendering, but because she knew she had made her point. And as they dragged her toward the ramp, Liv turned her head back toward Raquel, mouthing two chilling words. Not over. The arena was chaos. Fans screaming, medics rushing to Raquel's side, commentators trying to make sense of what they had just witnessed. But everyone watching knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just a feud anymore. This was war. The camera cuts to the backstage hallway, lights dimmed, the air heavy with tension. Liv Morgan is being escorted by a group of WWE officials, her face flushed, her eyes practically glowing with a rage that could melt steel. Every step she takes leaves an echo, like the sound of impending judgment. Raquel Rodriguez, somewhere down the corridor, is leaning against a wall, wiping sweat from her brow after her match, completely unaware that the storm is seconds away from swallowing her whole. Suddenly, Liv breaks free from the officials with a violent shove, sprinting down the hall like a predator spotting its prey. Her boots slam against the floor, each stomp faster than the last, and before anyone can yell a warning, bam, she spears Raquel straight into a stack of production crates. The crash is deafening. Equipment flies everywhere. Raquel groans, clutching her ribs, but Liv is already on her, fists raining down in a fury that borders on unhinged. You thought you could take my spot. Liv screams, her voice cracking with raw emotion. You thought you could throw me out and walk away like it meant nothing. Security rushes in, but Liv grabs a steel chair and swings it with a force that sends the crowd watching on the arena's big screen into a frenzy. The chair smacks against Raquel's back with a sound that makes even the most hardened fans wince. Raquel rolls to the ground, gasping for breath, and Liv, breathing heavily, hair wild, stands over her like an avenging angel turned demon. You're gonna remember this night for the rest of your life, she hisses. Judgment Day may have turned their back on me, but you, Raquel, you just signed your death warrant. She drops the chair beside Raquel's trembling body, a metallic clang echoing in the tense silence, and storms away, pushing past everyone in her path. The officials crowd around Raquel, checking her condition, as commentary from the arena feeds into the broadcast. That wasn't just an attack, that was a declaration of war.